I just did do a couple things at the beginning of the slide. The Kenya was named after the snow. There's snow year round on Mount Kenya. And it's just there, so the country was named after that. But I noticed the population, 53 million, which is equal to Florida and Texas combined. The second and third largest states in the Union. But it's only the size of Texas, so it's really very heavily populated. And I didn't get a chance to, we started doing some things like doing at the airport. How many people are there? Just thousands and thousands of people running the streets, and all these little trucks. And then the capital is Nairobi. Look at the day it was formed, 1899. That's when the British were there, and it became a British colony in 1920. And then look at Mombasa. That's where I was. That's where the college is, and where Paul and Debbie served was Mombasa. And it was formed by Arab traders. So if you look at Africa, Africa was formed by what country, you think? I mean, that colony. What European country was first to land there? In Kenya? Portugal. You know, because Portugal's right there in the ocean. They found the way to India. A guy named Vasco da Gama was the first person to make it from Europe to India by water when you're on the tip of Africa. It took a long time to finally get to that point. And then there's the official flag. See how good you people are. If you see what the colors all represent something. What do you think the black color represents in the Kenyan flag? That's pretty obvious.
The people.
The people, yes. And then the red is what normally things does red stand for?
Blood.
Blood of the people that sacrificed for freedom. And then green is the agriculture. And the shield is a Maasai shield. And they're the ones that helped defend it, eventually caused the British to give up. You go home and turn Kenya over. And that's a picture of, I didn't realize Mombasa was so big. But, yeah. It's got 1.2 million people just in that area on the ocean. But look how much the difference was before they went inland from 900 AD to 1899. So when we did that. Now there's just a little bit, it was a colony of Portugal first, and then the British the Muslims took over actually, and then the British. And then eventually it got its freedom. Now there is our two students, Nancy and I, sponsored these two kids. And it's pretty cheap, $500 a year for 4 years. And it's only like 86. Now we had an argument about should we sponsor a girl or a guy. She wanted a guy and I wanted a girl, so we compromised and did both. So,
And the bicycles.
yeah, and then I was able to buy a mutual bicycle. That was I almost got castigated for that because they said you shouldn't do things like that because it'll make the other kids feel bad or jealous. So yeah.
Now, is this the Bible college or this 500?
This is the school.
High
This is the school. The high school.
How much is it to sponsor a Bible
I
school?
would think about the same.
Yeah, but
It's the
that's just
same.
1 year, right?
Yeah, and
Same.
and I learned a lot about the Bible schools. They didn't. It wasn't designed for really be a college, because that's what I was thinking. It's going to be a college, but it's really just to give them another year to get their feet on the ground, advance spiritually before they move on. Because most of them have dreary lives to look forward to. It that was kind of sad. Yeah, and so not like today with so many things the kids said today about what their lives are going to be like. They don't have those chances to go to college because they can't afford it. So that's really sad. These are Emmanuel and Aisha. They're the two kids that we sponsor. Finally got to meet them. We only talk by correspondence, but now we got a chance to meet them. And they were thrilled to death to get a bike. A bike is like getting a limousine back to some of those kids.
So we learned while we were there that many students took a Christian name after they accepted Christ. So Emmanuel may have been named someone else.
From a Muslim name.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of Muslims who were there for a long time. Yeah, there's a lot of Muslim things. Okay, it's really, you can see that there's a lot of mosque around. Yeah, you can hear the prayer and things like that. They call it prayer. That's those kids. And then here's the Bible college. That little, that's called a tuk-tuk. T-U-K, that little thing there. And I rode that every day from the hotel to the school for about 25 minutes. On the roughest roads I've ever been on. They're not even roads, it's like running over mountains. But I got a guy to give me, I paid him what, $10 a day? 10 something a day.
Kenya shillings.
And well, that was dollars. I think equivalent of dollars.
Okay.
Like I gave him 100 shillings, and that was like
Yeah.
10 bucks, yeah. So he was there every day, so I was happy to have him there every day at 7:30 and every day afternoon at 3:30 when I went back. But there's me teaching the class. That's the 12 college students. And I switched after the first week. I switched to the circle. That seemed to be more intimate, and I could talk to them better, and see them better. I do that at Valencia. If I have a class under 14, I do it in a square like this. More than 14 than I do it in the regular classroom. Because I think it's more easy to face each other and to talk better and things like that. So that's what we did every day. 8 o'clock is when they did devotions. Paul did that the first day because he didn't trust me. But then he realized I could handle it, so then he came in later every day. And I had to come in at 8 to lead to get them started on the devotions. They have private devotions for 30 minutes, and then for 30 minutes they would discuss what they've noticed, what they found. So I led that every morning, and then we took a break and started class. And then
Was there, I have a question, was there a guide to devotions, or they just picked out what?
no, the thing is they went through the book of John.
Okay.
So every day they had a different chapter. They would read that chapter all together, privately. And I would just sit in the back and won't be there. And then at 8:30 then I would go there and we would go, what'd you guys find out today? Yeah, I wouldn't normally do that, but Paul liked that idea, so I just did what he asked me to do.
Excuse me.
When he realized I was gonna do what he told me to do, he didn't come in. He let me handle that part. Yeah.
Did you say that that is part of the high school program?
Yes, I'll show you in a minute.
Now that you're here, is there someone following up or is
Yes, I was the second teacher.
Okay.
There was another guy named John. He helped me a lot. He gave me an idea what to expect, what not to expect. Because it was quite a bit different than I was expecting, because I had to adjust. And then I met the lady that took over after I left. Paul and Debbie came here. She took over and was teaching the next week.
You taught the whole day, right?
Well, yeah, I taught 3 classes a day.
Because
2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. They had a long break for lunch and they had a long break. See, the thing about the school that I didn't realize, they come like 7:30 in the morning and they stay till 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. Because they have no place else to go. They had nothing at home, no jobs.
So while you were teaching, there was other teachers that were there?
No, we just followed them consecutively.
Just, okay.
Okay, he taught and I took over for him. It was like tag team. Then some lady came in and took over for me after I was done.
Because the school and the college, that whole property, those grounds are like a light to that, an oasis to that village. Because the village is, like you said, nothing but dirt, and there's no electricity, and there's no running water.
No AC
So
for sure.
at school, they come there because they love it, and then they find out that, from reading the Bible, and they find out that they want to be Christians. And so it turns into such an oasis for them and for the whole village.
When they get lunch, they get food.
Yeah.
It's the same lunch every day.
And their desks, and their desks.
Corn and beans.
Tell
No
them.
meat, it's corn and
And it's
beans.
the same lunch as they have at the 500, which is like,
Yeah.
for some reason they have different ones.
Yeah.
And tell them about the rickety desks.
Oh yeah, they're just, you can see they're old-fashioned wooden metal desks. Very uncomfortable. And no air conditioning. Those are the windows, there's no glass, no AC.
And they were
The dust would blow in and stuff. Every day, some of the girls would come in and wipe off the seats and the desk.
Yeah.
Because they'd gotten dust overnight blowing into the windows. Those are just holes in those windows.
You must have been very hot because you weren't used
Yes. When I got back to teach, I teach 3 classes a day at Valencia, on certain days. What a difference. And by the end of the day, I'm still fine, healthy. By the time I'm done with 3 classes here, I'm worn out. It's just the heat and all that stuff just makes it tougher.
And those desks are made locally. They hire.
I think they were
local
made
with-
about 50 years ago.
They've had some more made because they had to add desks, but they're local. So that's how the school really is an engine to the rest of the community and the village. They use the village to make the uniforms. They use the village to do things, whatever it is they need. The school, if they have somebody in the village that can do it, that's where they go.
That's great.
Yeah, I had the hotel make me a breakfast every day. Because I didn't eat, I left early, so I didn't go to the breakfast they had. And a nice big box. Wouldn't recommend it. But it's just, they had a boiled egg and some bread and cheese and some other stuff that I didn't know what it was. And ungali was just, I can't believe they take flour and water, cook it, and that's what they eat. That's a meal. Flour and water, cooked. And then to give it a fancy French name.
Well, at least the bean have proteins.
I know, it's not that it's bad, with corn and beans, but it's the same thing every freaking day.
But they
Yeah.
have beautiful teeth. I always say their teeth are gorgeous
Yeah,
because they don't eat sweets.
That's what it must be, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what I did then is gave away the breakfast every day. I came in and gave away my breakfast every day.
Oh.
They packed it pretty good. They had fruit and some juice, stuff like that. So
They're polluted.
I would just play games with them. Say, pick a number between 1 and 100, whoever got it, I gave them whatever first choice. Because I didn't eat much. I weighed 180 when I left, and I weighed 167 when I got back.
Nice.
I lost weight too.
Did you too? I didn't. The food was too fancy at the hotel. I wouldn't eat the stuff at the daytime stuff. So it was a real experience that way. And then there's the high school. I taught a couple of classes. I think there's the teacher in the corner there. She was bad, so I put her in the corner. No, she was the teacher, and I think what I was doing is giving them a break.
Yeah.
So they would normally teach that class. There's the faculty, that center picture. I took it. They sat in the back during their programs. But that's the faculty of the high school. So I got to know some of them and ask them what they did. And there's me in the other picture. In breaks, I would go talk to the students and find out what they're doing.
So are all the schools in English?
Yeah, English is the official language of Kenya because of the British background, but they all speak Swahili. I would say every morning, I would say, Karibu Wanafunzi, which means welcome students. That's the name, that's the Swahili name for students, Wanafunzi. It's WANAFUN, there's fun there. And then ZI at the end, so it must be welcome students.
So, Ron, the faculty could come because they were not teaching their own
Well,
classes?
this is every Monday and Friday they have a big rally. All the students in one class, show it to you, the next picture. They do this.
Yeah, we have a praise meeting every Friday afternoon.
And that's the high school and.
It was Friday morning.
And their class.
Yeah,
That's
so
the worship center upstairs on the 3rd floor. Remember
That's
Paul
the,
said?
yeah, that's a bigger room. That's not the same as the college room. That's a huge room. Holds about 250. That's how many students they can have. They can't take any more than 250. They have more applications. They just can't take more than 250. And there's Tracy giving her testimony in Tracer. She did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Talked about her athletic experiences and challenged them. And then this is, I couldn't capture that. I got a video. They would go crazy. In the middle of that thing, they were yelling, screaming, raising their hands, all kinds of stuff. It was as energetic as I've ever seen. Yeah. So, and then there's some of them. There's my students. There were 7 girls. This is Joyce and Rose. She's kind of the leader of the group. And Vivian and Kim and Leah and Mercy and Kanzi. Rose is the one that came to me for advice. She said, can I ask you something? Yeah, there's this guy I really like at the school. And he doesn't like me. What do I do? So I gave her some good advice. I'm not going to tell you what I told her.
Somewhere we know it's good.
I charge for that information.
How much?
No, I basically told her, well, you be the good person that God wants you to be. Be kind, outspoken, nice, friendly. Don't be too eager. Don't advance yourself. Just be around, and He'll notice you. Yeah, you're the kind of person that God wants, and eventually get noticed. I had to give that advice on more than one occasion, but look at them. They're just great kids. I mean, they're just wonderful kids. I did youth work for 25 years, and I got finally a chance to go back. And I like this form of teaching because I get to know them during the day, because they're there all day. And I get out during the breaks and play ball and throw the frisbee and do that kind of stuff. Okay, and so Rose was kind of the leader. I gave her, she was very sincere, asking me, what do I do? I really like this guy. I don't know what to do. So now here are the guys. There were 5 guys. Hamzi is the guy that wants to be a preacher, the one on the end. And then Victor, there's the 2
On the left
benches.
or the right?
Left. My left, the screen left.
The green sleeves.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's Hamzi and then Victor, the two Victors, and this is also Victor. I was coming in my tuk-tuk one morning and we passed him about 2.5 miles from the school. He was walking to school 2.5 miles. And he had been walking for a while, so we picked him up, gave him a ride. Good man, I can't believe he's just walking every day, just they walk huge long distances. And then Jacob, he was kind of the intellectual of the group. He's the one that I talked to a lot. And then this guy's name is Wright, R-I-G-H-T. They named him Wright. Guess he has the right name. But he's very athletic. And, we had a lot of conversations one-on-one when I got to play ball. And it's amazing. These guys could catch anything I would throw. I'd throw the ball and they could jump up and catch it, but they couldn't throw with beans. They couldn't grasp the ball. I'd say, no, grab it here. And then you spin it when you throw it to get its distance. And they would go, they could catch anything, but they couldn't throw it worth their darn. They just were so used to using their feet, they couldn't use their hands to throw a ball. And then the last day, I took them out for a pizza and ice cream. It cost me $120, but it was well worth it, very well worth it. They just don't do that. They went to the mall. They don't get a chance to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then after pizza, we had ice cream. And he bought an ice cream cone. And they just aren't used to it. They lined up at the thing, and the lady just gave them, as they went through, they gave them a nice.
Where did you take them?
It was at the mall. It was some pizza place. There's a strip mall. Well, and it was
By the school, or did
yeah,
you
it
go
was
downtown?
several miles away. It wasn't
Several
walking
miles.
distance, yeah, before they got into town. And it was
So did they walk?
no, we had a van.
Oh,
Paul's van holds about 14, so we got just everybody in it. And Sheila, the secretary, came. Paul came. And so yeah, she's the heart of the school. She keeps it together. She's a great lady. They had got wonderful staff. I don't know how they did it, but it's nice when people hire good people. That's been my story. I never had much talent as a person or a leader, but I got good people to help me. And that's what made it successful, is a lot of good people doing things like that.
And Debbie was saying the staff want to be there as much as the kids want to be there. So even on Saturdays, they said, because after COVID, they had to catch up, so they had to be there on Saturdays too. And they said, well, can we still come on Saturday? And she said, well, yeah, why would you want to? Because, I would
Yeah,
think.
what kids want to come to school on Saturday?
Yeah, because it's an oasis again. It's a joy for them.
But it was great to see them enjoying pizza and ice cream. It's such common. And then, this one. I want to try this. Nancy said I should, but I will. This is the game I taught them. Oh, that's not it. It's coming up next. There's the football guys that were throwing football around. And then I rode a camel on the beach. So I thought I had to do something clever. So, yeah, they got a guy that gave camel rides on the beach. So I never been on a camel, so I tried that. I'm looking at one screen.
The
ahead.
worst is when the camel comes down and gets up. That's the.
Yeah, it is the toughest part.
Oh, I can imagine.
And then at the right, far right, I guess under activities is the elevator. They'd never been on an elevator. Went to the mall, they couldn't wait, they all wanted to ride the elevator. They rode it up and rode it back down.
Well, some students had never, before they came to school, they'd never been in a bathroom and they'd never gone up and downstairs.
Well, they weren't in the bathroom at school either, as far as I was concerned. They have a hole in the ground, that's the bathroom.
What Debbie was saying is that when they first put in the toilets, is all the boys were standing on the toilet and peeing into the toilet. They didn't understand they could stand on the ground. And
They were also defecating into the toilet too from a distance, yeah.
When we were in Amsterdam, we were on a boat tour on one of the canals, and there's a sign in the bathroom with somebody squatting above the toilet, standing on the seat in an X, and somebody underneath, the little line drawings, somebody underneath with the feet on the floor, sitting on the seat. And that was a green circle. The red circle with the line was on the guy's. So that's apparently a cultural thing. I'm thinking perhaps Arabian, Muslim, squatting.
Yeah, they're just called drop toilets, that's what they're called.
Interesting.
So this is the game I taught them. It's called rhythm. Maybe I won't make you do it.
Is that the one like
Yes.
this?
You've seen this?
Is that the one you put on
Yeah.
like this?
Yeah.
That's.
Did you see that, or?
I didn't see it there, but I.
Yeah, in other words, you go, thinking of names of men of the Bible, Jonah, and then you go around the circle, everybody would say, tell you this, that, yeah, you do it with numbers, we did it with names, I would do all kinds of things, you know, different countries in Africa and stuff like that. And they loved it, because when somebody would miss, they would just go crazy. And then what happened, when you missed, you had to go to the end, and then you move up one seat, till you got to the front, yeah. And we just played that during the breaks, they just want to play it almost every day. And then I would just make it dramatic, I'd go, and then we'd come up with different stupid names, and they would just go crazy thinking of names and stuff. So that was a game they learned that
That room that you're in there is called the library.
That's because it has one book. I know there is.
They have a few books there, but that was what it was supposed to be at one point.
So what kind of books do they have?
Well, Christian books, Bibles, commentaries, some tools, archaeology books.
Yeah.
I think it's all been donated, and they're about as old as I am. So. They're not super good. Well, they got some good titles in there. A lot of it's government books. Government has a curriculum for everything. Yeah. So when I taught the class, they gave me just a book, and I had to teach what's in the book.
How did they comprehend your lessons that you taught?
I had no trouble. They were saying I was going to trouble. I didn't have any trouble at all. They speak very good English, and they speak it well. So I use my English knowledge. Good English spoken well.
So did you cover just Paul, or did you have other topics you had to teach?
Well, that was 13 books.
But I know, but what did you have other stuff? You said there were
No.
government books.
No, I didn't
And
teach
they
that.
gave
Oh, I
you
just
a
did,
book
I
and
did
you-
that to the high school, not to the Bible college. That was stuff when I taught a class in the high school.
You taught in
You
high
used the
school.
government
Yeah.
books for the high school.
All right.
But the
My own
course
stuff for
on
the
Paul
college.
was for, and that was all you covered, you didn't have to cover other stuff also.
No, that was
Is
just
that okay?
see, they do course one at a time. It's consecutive courses. There are some colleges that actually do that. You teach one course at a time. It has some merit because you concentrate on one class. Instead of taking 5 different classes, you take 5 for 3 weeks. Instead of 5 classes for 15, you take 1 class for 3. And so there's some merit to that, where you don't have to worry about a lot of different classes to teach.
Or learn,
Yeah, so
focus learning one thing at a time.
right, so that your whole day is on one subject. Yeah, I think it's got some good merit.
Yeah. You won't have 3 tests on the same day.
Yeah, but you'll have more tests all the time.
Yeah, that's okay.
But you have to learn it in 3 weeks. That there's no room for study. You have to kind of spend every night on one class. There's some merit to it. But we went through all kinds of doctrines. We covered the kenosis, with Christ be emptying himself. We covered predestination, communion. We talked all about that. One of the first question I ever got, I've been teaching now for almost 50 years in college. And the first time some girl asked me, she said, they were smiling and snickering back and forth. And I said, well, you guys have a question? Yeah, they said, should a girl take communion when she's on her period?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I said, well, I'm not real. I've never heard that before. I got Paul was over there doing some stuff. So I said, Paul, can you help me out here? But somehow they'd heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, they had a whole course on that. They had a whole course because Debbie was saying that in one of the things they sent us that they taught a 3 or 4 week on female and the boys went, female health, and boys went, and she had one of these crazy videos is that at the end of it is that all the girls got the sanitary napkins, and they were all, and the boys too were all waving them, we were sitting there going, this is an interesting thing. But it was again, it was a learning process.
Yeah.
So that may have been where that came.
Well, I assumed that they had gotten it somewhere where
I
they
wonder
heard
if
it.
they got it because of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that.
They got unclean.
Were unclean, which they had their period. I wonder if they had to learn.
Yeah, that was part of it. And I just said, I don't know of any restriction in the Bible or any church I know that has that kind of restriction. There's no real connection between the two. Let's see. there's some of the beach stuff. There's I had breakfast a couple days with Paul and David, and then went to that's the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
How far is the school from the Indian Ocean?
Well, it's right outside the hotel,
So the hotel's by
so it's
the-
about 25
The
minutes.
school is about 5 miles.
Yeah, and well, I'll show you the hotel in a minute. But we had a ball. We
And some of the
even
kids-
played Thinking of in the middle of the ocean. They wanted to play it some more, so we clapped on the water and we were playing in a circle.
Some of the kids had never been to the ocean. I mean, even though they live very close, it's walking everywhere. So think of it, just a remote, I say it's remote because it's like day and night. When you're in the village, it's dirt and ramshackled and maybe a roof. And then you cross over the highway and there's the ocean and there's resorts and there's restaurants. So it's like a whole other world over there. So some kids
They had
have
to
never.
sneak on the beach, all let them out of the van at the end, and then they walked down to the public areas because the hotels don't let them go from the hotel onto the beach. He had to go from the end of it and come down to where the more beach was. So yeah, but it was interesting. Now that I've swum in 4 oceans, I got 1 to go. I think there are 5 oceans.
7 seas. 5
But that
oceans.
includes the Mediterranean.
5 oceans because the new one is the Southern Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, that's the 5th one. But I swam in the Arctic Ocean for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Was it warm?
No.
One of
That's why I
those
swam for
things,
5 minutes.
once you get in, it's okay?
No, never gets okay.
Most pools, once you get in, it's okay.
Yeah. This was the warmest water I ever swam in, Indian Ocean.
It's warmer than the Caribbean?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's warm. Caribbean's not ocean.
We're right on the equator.
It's big enough to be one, but it's not considered. What's the biggest lake in the world, you know?
Mombasa is
Victoria?
Mombasa is
No.
only 3 degrees south of the
Is
equator.
Superior the largest?
The Caspian Sea. It's called the sea, but it's by definition a lake. There's no outflow, so it's there. But
You were mentioning the activities there. When we were there was a lot of acrobatics. Because
oh yeah, I didn't put that in there. They did.
It's cheap. You don't need equipment. All you use is each other. So they did acrobatics on the beach. They did it in the water. They did it at the school. The time that we had the sponsor day, I mean, that was a big deal. They climbed each other
really?
to the tippy top of what? How do you think? 6 or 8 people were high.
Yeah.
Jerry, do you think?
Then they had dancers and all kinds of cultural things. Yeah, they did one. I wish I'd got more pictures of it, but they did one where the kids would model clothes, doctors' clothes, nurses' clothes.
Professional clothes.
Yeah,
So
and
this
they
is
come
how you
in and
dress.
model traditional garb, and they did that all as part of the program. Okay, let's see what else they have.
And
There's
that's
the
a team.
food distribution.
So is that kind of like after school? They have a special time?
No, well,
or
it's
years?
every so often they did it for the parents.
Well,
It's like
they-
Parents' Day.
They did it for
Sponsor day.
us on sponsor day.
Oh,
And
But
on
they-
sponsor day is that they did, well, we have actual movies of Jerry dancing. On those.
I
So-
bribe him to hide it, he won't do it.
And they did traditional dancing, they had a traditional play, which was interesting. And then they have the acrobats, and then at the end of all of that is that they dress as something that they were going to be, whether it was a doctor or a nurse or whatever. And it was interesting how, some of the things, you have these professions, and then they had this one striking young woman walk out and she's dressed up and she's dressed up to go to dinner. I mean, that was, we have pilots and doctors and veterinarians and everything, and she was dressed to go.
You don't see anybody dressed like that.
And then she had, so she was dressed to go to dinner.
And the teacher that does these programs is a volunteer. When we were there, she wasn't even being paid. But she loves the program and the school so much that she comes there. She has another teaching job at another school, but she comes there for these extracurricular activities and volunteers her time.
Theater and arts, and she was the one who did the play, that did the play.
Well, they do Joan and the Web play?
No.
They had done that in the service, the praise service.
This was a live drama
I
play.
actually have pictures of that where they had a cardboard box which was a fish, and some guy played Jonah, and they put on a whole play for the school.
The one that we had was very striking because it was a young girl who was trying to be sold off to an elderly gentleman. To marry.
Oh.
And she didn't want that, and there was one scene where the mother was trying to protect the daughter, and he slapped her. And it was not a stage slap. It was a slap,
He
and
just
all of us are sitting there going, but it was the moral of the story was that she did not marry him, and she went on and became her own woman, own professional, and everything.
Wow.
So it was trying to bridge the old versus the new. It's a morality play, I guess.
That's a good visual for them.
But that was the first Saturday we did. We all got in the vans and drove out to, about a half hour away or so. And then they get kids in the neighborhood all gathered, hundreds of them. And then we would,
499.
Oh, one was missing?
They're 500.
That's a 500 food.
That's how they started the 5 feet to 500. Is one of the guys who started this used to be we called him the mayor, and he's now the controller at the Casarina House. But the government used to keep charge of all of the orphans in town, and where they were, and he was in there. And in the small village of Butangi, which is where the Casarina House is, which is where that takes place also, is that there were 499 orphans in this one little village. And so they started the Feed the 500 program, not the 499. And
well, I got to go play with them. They like playing games like this. I taught them some clapping games and stuff.
You play a lot.
Yeah. Well, I like it, so it was easy for me to do. I've been doing it my whole life. And then here's where I got the teaching part. After they play games, then they put them into groups, and the different people in the group tell Bible stories, tell the gospel. And
That was a Saturday program.
yeah, that's a Saturday. They do that every Saturday. So the kids are just unbelievable. There's me trying to teach them how to play. Well, they taught me how to play soccer. But there's Tracy playing. She was pretty good. But we get out and play with them and do all kinds of stuff. I play catch. And, yeah, this kid I played catch. He wouldn't let me go. Kept bringing the ball back here, throw it to me, and throw it. And I said, I guess has been doing this for 2 hours now. What a cute kid he was. And then there's the hotel. I can get a lot of pictures of it. That's the beach right outside the hotel. There's the pool. To go from poverty to wealth,
That was a beautiful.
25-minute drive.
Beautiful place to stay.
That's my room. That was my room. So that's where I got to stay at. So it was not bad at all. Yeah.
Air conditioning.
That's the restaurant. See that pile of money there?
Where? Oh.
Yeah.
that's the money on the top left-hand corner. That's just
Which
a
is
stack
that?
that's a stack of Kenyan shillings. What is that? $1?
How much is it?
It's $1,750 right
$1,750 or shillings?
there. Shillings. No. It's 10,000 shillings or something. But but that's what I did. And when I got there, they said bring cash. I brought $1,750. That was my hotel bill for 26 nights, included breakfast and dinner, which not too bad. But that's what it cost me to stay there at that hotel.
Including food.
Yeah.
2 meals, yeah.
Yeah,
Two
so,
meals.
yeah, Paul and Debbie said bring cash. So they told me here's what your bill's going to be. So I could have paid it, I guess, here, but I waited till I got there. I was a little nervous on the plane when I had kept that much cash.
Pockets of money.
Yeah, I thought cash. So I wore a jacket in the middle of summer. It was pretty good. Having one of those fanny packs
You
and
didn't
a
look like
jacket
a
over
tourist
it.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he could have paid all of this online before he got there. And
Hey, just because I'm not very sharp or savvy, my heart's in the right
Very
place.
trusting,
He
right?
does everything the hard way.
But at least I had $1,750. So they stopped on the way back from the airport. They stopped at a place where the guy does the exchange.
Exchange.
So I gave him $1,700 in cash, and he gave me that. So I assumed it was right.
Yeah, I wonder, how did you know? At least
Well,
at a
they-
bank, you can talk to them, you
They
know?
counted it. Well,
This is the guy in the blue.
I just assumed, I didn't count it.
Jimmy
I gave
knew
him
the guy.
money I could count.
Was his name Matthew? Did he look like a tax collector?
But I gave him $1,700 $1 bills and a $50
Debbie
bill, and he
knew
gave me
that well,
this.
so she took us to.
But he's just a guy in this.
And if you
little
look at the
back-
bill,
has told you
you
twice.
look at the front bill, that's $1,000. That's 1,000 shillings, anyhow. It's not, you know, that's not $5 shillings. That's 1,000 shillings, several thousand shillings. That's how much it costs for the hotel room. But can you imagine, say, pay your bill, I pull out a stack of money that big, and then they had to go back and count it to make sure it was honest. Then I found out I was 10,000 shillings short. So I don't know, somebody made a
Were you
mistake.
really?
Yeah. And he says, you know, you still might owe me 10,000 shillings, which is like $120. $120.
We had that happen because the exchange rate changed.
Yeah,
And we
Well,
told Debbie about it, she went and called and talked to him about it, and he explained it to her.
So that was-
They had a bill that day, rather than wait till then.
Yeah, so that was it turned out to be $120. 12,000 shillings was $120. So I paid my bill before.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, I spent that at the pizza place, I'm sorry.
So, but I just wanted to show you how much, what shillings and dollars. Those are not dollar shillings, they're $1,000 shillings.
1,000 shilling notes.
A stack of them, that big.
It's like what, 13 to 1 or 14 to 1.
Yeah, it's, and then there's church service on the beach, that's the one we went to on Sundays. Okay, and then this is the orphanage. I only got a couple pictures of that, that's the rooms they stayed in. They have the whole rows of rooms with like 2 beds in each room
Gosh.
and a common restroom.
But that is Shangri-La compared to where they came from.
Yeah, so it has floors and everything,
And
not
it has a
doors
roof and
and a bathroom.
Running water.
I guess there's 4, I guess there are 4 or 2 in those rooms, I think 2.
four.
Yeah. And then some of the kids that came to the Bible college, that's where they lived, and they would come there every day to the college. Okay, they had no place else to stay. And then the accident. I didn't get pictures of the actual accident. The picture on the right bottom is
Did you
one
get a
I
picture of
found.
Lynn with her face? You should have.
I have her somewhere.
And
Somewhere.
you in prison, Ron?
What?
At the police station?
That's the police report.
Could
But,
you,
but
was
the
it
accident was
English?
this, I'm riding in one of these cars, tuk-tuk.
There's 3
There
of
was
us.
Lynn and Jewel were in the back next to me. Jewel was in the middle, Lynn was I was on the left. And I've got my phone, you know, because I snap pictures every so often, so I keep my phone out. And I'm sitting here on the left side, and I'm just sitting here casually looking at the scenery. Some guy on a motorcycle, 2 guys, because one was stood up, and reached inside the tuk-tuk, grabbed my phone out of my hand, and then yelled at the guy, take off, and he was on a bike, took off. And so the driver then pulls off to avoid the bike moving, and then we get slammed from the side and knocked us over, and
That's where I broke my pelvis.
what? Yeah,
Broke my pelvis.
Jewel took the
brunt of it.
yeah, well,
I
she's
think
in the
I
middle.
landed on you, that's why.
Yeah, I was your pusher. When I was on the bottom, took me a while to get up, but yeah, the next, well,
Was that before or lost?
what?
Was that before or after you lost the weight?
Well, it's only the 4th day we were there.
Okay,
so
so
before.
he was still fluffy then.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever been
Who was the tuk-tuk driver? What was his name?
Wilson.
Wilson.
Amazing guy. And he
Oh, you
lost
do?
his thing.
We know
for-
Wilson.
That's when I hired too.
We know Wilson.
He lost the tuk-tuk for about 4 days
Yeah, they wouldn't do it, they wouldn't give it back to him.
to check it out.
But some lady came along, what was her name? Lynn, no, what was her name? That she works for the orphanage, grabbed us.
Tracy?
No, it was somebody that was a helper at the hotel.
Oh, I know which one you meant.
Yeah. She took us back to the hotel. She said, you don't want to go to the hospital. You'll be there forever and they'll want all
I had to
questions.
go to the hospital.
Yeah, because she was hurt worse than either one of us. So then I got some pills, some very nice pills. I have some at home. I take them in the morning and I'll be okay for the day. But in the morning, getting out of bed,
Very nice.
going to bed at night is,
Yeah.
What were they?
Okay, what
They made them in the kitchen with fentanyl.
I didn't feel it.
But you don't know what they are?
Those pills, I didn't.
I'll bring some if you like to try one.
No.
Ron is like me. Carol can kill me at any moment because she walks in and she says, "Here, take these," and I go, "Okay, fine."
It's vitamins.
It's vitamins. Okay, so I like
Sometimes
something.
they say-
She could throw straight fentanyl in there, you wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know.
No, I talked, we had a doctor.
We'll have
that
a
was with
nice
us.
service for
As
you.
long as she's not wearing rubber gloves when she gives it to me. Ron, so the big question is, did you get your phone back?
No,
No.
no, the guy thought they could get it because, because people talk, and the police guy said he thought he could find it back.
Never did.
So I borrowed a phone from Kate, one of the British people. She brought an extra phone that she was gonna give. So I gave it to Paul last week, the phone that I used. I had it cleaned and erased and he sent back to somebody they could give it to. But I got home and called up Pure Talk, that's who did my carrier. And they wouldn't do a thing for me. I said, I got my phone stolen. Can you give me a new one? Can you get a discount price or something? They said, no, I'm sorry. It'll be $1,000 to replace your phone.
Oh, you didn't have insurance.
Yeah. So then I called Verizon, which was Nancy's suggestion, and I said, here's my situation. They gave me a brand new phone, identical to the one I lost, for $10 a month. Now, it's 87 years.
7 years.
Yeah. It'll be
That's
a hundred
only
and something.
3 years. So that's $360. So for $360, and the service was even a little cheaper. So I got a new phone.
And you had the cloud, and you got back
And yeah, they got the
pictures?
pictures that I lost when they stole my phone.
We got it back.
Yes,
Verizon
that's
said
wow.
they said they could go back and get the pictures that I lost.
Wow.
That's what Google Cloud does for you. All of the stuff you thought was gone.
It's there.
Time
But the
lapse.
stuff you lose.
So
There's
I-
no privacy.
That's where Jerry's dancing pictures are.
Oh.
On the cloud, so you can't get rid of it.
Forever.
But I thought that was nice of Verizon to
When
give me
you
a phone
like
for
take
$10
out
a
the
month.
satellites and stuff.
Then I would have had to pay $1,000 in cash, so I switched carriers. And that other picture is a fake.
So how many days was Wilson out of commission before?
Something like that.
I think it's 4 days.
They couldn't get his tuk-tuk back.
So is he the one that took you to the
We had
college every
security
day?
guard, I'll tell you,
So you at
security
least
guard came with
helped
me
him.
everywhere I went.
Yeah,
To the
I gave him a nice, because she said it would be like 3 or 4 hours. I
They
gave
were
him 2
really
every day.
So
Gave him 5 each way.
Jules,
So-
Jewel has something, go ahead.
there was a security guard that came to the hospital with me, stayed there with me, in the hotel. He was very, very concerned, and I think he talked to you also.
Yeah, he was
because
very
of
good.
the government, I.
Well, he's the one that took me to the police station.
Yeah, but
'Cause
what
I
they
said,
did
I
is
wanna
they cared so
report.
much about, a visitor. being
Tourist.
hurt. So even the
Yes.
hotel, we got flowers, Lynn and I, they sent flowers to us, the hotel. Amazing how they, were so kind.
Well, you represent considerable income
Yeah,
and considerable influence.
yes.
And if you give a bad report about the town or the city or the tuk-tuk company or the resort, it
Yeah.
is going to have
Right,
repercussions.
well, they sure did. Be careful.
And Debbie said as long as they've been doing these mission trips, they've never had anything. She was so thankful, but she was mortified that this happened, but she said this had never happened before, so that speaks.
But I got a police report in case I needed medical treatment when I got home. Wade, his name's Wade, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the doctor.
He
He
was the
checked
doctor.
me out and said he didn't think anything was broken.
he's from this church, but he went on that mission team. He's a doctor.
But I had a bruise up and down my arm, the whole thing was just black. Yeah.
That hospital, it was like an emergency hospital, how scary it is to go to another country. Very, very clean. They did x-rays and did scans on me. When I got back to the States, they wouldn't even do what they did. You know what I mean? I mean, they were very, very professional.
Well, even more
Very good.
importantly, is I was talking.
Very inexpensive compared to.
I was talking to Larry, and he said, they did all of this stuff for her, and it was only $400.
I know, and it was so
There you
nice
go,
for the
boy.
States.
See, I think I'm okay every time I lift my arm, like I get some tension there. Still, I went to the doctor and he said, well, that hurts, so then don't do that.
That's right. So the tuk-tuks is like a company, like a taxi company?
That's just a kind of vehicle, I think, it's a type of.
No, what I mean is it's like a taxi company.
No, they all
Wilson
own their
doesn't-
own, I think they
It's
all
all
own their
They're
own.
individual.
So if Wilson owns his own, who prevented
It's
him
like
from
a
driving
golf.
it?
The police,
The police.
well, they wanted him to pay them money to get it back.
Oh.
That's called police corruption, I think.
Well, it's like, Paul was telling the story that he had a thing on the back of his van that said Casarina. And he got stopped by the police and they said he had a broken taillight, which is a scam in the United States also. And they started trying to get bribe. He's not going to give you anything. So he went to jail. We have pictures of Paul in jail. And he said it's the greatest opportunity because he got to evangelize and all the people that were there. And a number of them converted to Christianity. And then he was talking to one of the policemen, the police chief that he knew, and that he made it all go away. But the thing was, is there's a Casarina casino. And they thought that he was the white guy who owned the Casarina casino, so they were trying to shake him down. Now that's, as I remember the story. And,
Yeah.
so
What's next?
what's next?
Well, this is a fake picture.
That's a
What?
fake picture. So they're
Because they don't have any rhinos in Kenya.
Oh.
It looks like that's what knocked us down. It was rhino.
Deep fake.
Well, they imported 11 rhinos from Tanzania. They all died. They put them in the same area we went to the safari.
I couldn't handle it.
They guess they fed them the wrong food, but all 11 of them died. They want, because this is the most popular animal, I think. People want to see the rhinos. Yeah. And so I just put that there, but they actually took the rhinos from
Did you go to
Tanzania.
the safari?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't miss anything, I don't think. Yeah. All I need is those little white pillows and I can do that.
Why did they get any of those little
And there's me in my safari hat, safari outfit. And there's these are actual pictures I took. That's the lion at night when we took a nighttime safari.
Wow.
Shined a light. Hard to see that. It doesn't look like much like a lion, but that was a lion that we saw during the evening safari. And these are all pictures we took. That was the big thing when the lion, we finally found the lion. We didn't see much, but zebras were the most plentiful. And then the elephants were everywhere too. And these are people that outside the little place we stayed, they came for watering at night and took pictures of them. But these were the worst. This is the water buffaloes. And I was in my little Jeep, and I was in the front seat, and passenger side, which was the wrong side, the left side. And I never got used to that. I was the passenger side was the left side.
Kept trying to get him to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this, about 50, maybe 50 yards away was one of these big water buffaloes. And the thing was looking right at me. Our eyes met. We started dating, no. And he looked like he was ready to charge. I mean, he really looked like, watch me, and I'm going, I'm in this little Jeep, and 50 yards away from this huge water buffalo. I was going to be killed again.
Again.
And then he just got lost interest and walked away.
They did say that those are the dangerous ones. Did they have guns and stuff outside of your tents and stuff?
No, I don't remember any guns.
Yeah, ours
That's what I
had,
was
yeah, they have
told.
guns.
They said water buffaloes were very dangerous.
And then we had a baptism. So 5 of the kids, the students in the Bible college had done that baptized, so we had that. I don't know why I couldn't find pictures of the actual baptism. Paul and John took them out of the ocean and baptized 5 of them. This is them on the top giving their testimonies.
That's some good.
Yeah, they gave their testimonies. If you got some, I'd like them. Because I have so many, it's so hard on the
I had a
phone.
little breakfast that
And
I'm
people
sure.
they don't take one picture of anything, they take 10 pictures of the same thing. So it's,
Yeah.
but they just keep
I can
pressing the
send
buttons.
you what I have.
But here's where they gave their testimonies. And then I guess I didn't find the pictures of the communion service. The last thing we did before we went out for pizza was have communion. Very moving. Paul led it, and I helped. And then the 12 students all got in a circle and we had communion. It was the kind we do here. They had never done intinction before, which is the name for dipping. So they went up one at a time, and we had cake and Dr. Pepper. I couldn't find wine. Yeah. So they go up and take a little piece and then dip it in and the soda. And then they went around and I was the last one, so we did that. And then we took a break and then got organized and went out for pizza and ice cream. So it was kind of a contrast between Union and that. So it was pretty good. And then this is, I don't know where this picture came from. I just kind of showed up when I was doing pictures. This is the youth group I'm in. This is my first year out of college,
Oh.
1969. And this is where I got my love of youth work. I came up to Pennsylvania. and
So we
started-
know you're not in Kenya.
Yeah. That's me playing the guitar in the blue sweater. And I did youth work for 5 years and then went on and did some more. And so it was nice to get back.
Yes.
And this is the kind of teaching I like to do.